Thank you. This wasn't really planned, as you will probably pick up. But yeah, it wasn't really planned, so it's actually Easter Monday. At least that's what it's called here in the UK. So it's still a public holiday, and my plan was to basically get an early morning lap on the TT bike. But in true bank holiday fashion, it's rained overnight, and yeah, I don't ride that bike if there's sort of any moisture on the road at all. So that basically gave me two options: either hook the TT bike up to the turbo trainer, pick a workout that was sort of part of my VO2 max VO2 building program, sort of, that I've been doing over the last 6 to 8 weeks, of which I've done every single one of those sessions now at least once. So there was that option, or the other option was get the checkpoint out. So I decided to do that instead, because this week's going to be a bit of a funny one for me at work. I've got a couple of pretty dog days, which means I'm not going to be able to do any training, very early starts. One will be a very late finish. So I thought, well, use the time, get outdoors, and yeah, just try and make the most of it. So I'm only going to go out and do an hour, because to be honest, if you want to go any further than that, around here at least, and it's always the way with off-road, it always takes a hell of a lot longer. So and this is also the other problem around here: if you just go straight out the door, is really you end up sort of off-road and also road at the same time. And it's pretty windy at the minute, so I've no idea whether or not this microphone will actually work out, but I suppose I'll find that out when I get home. Basically planned today, considering there was no plan, I've just left home, cut through Donington Park. I'm going to pick up the Cloud Trail near, where is it? Just in Wilson, around that area. So it'll only be kind of an hour out. I've not pedalled for the last 2 minutes whilst I've been doing this, so fortunately I'm on a downhill section. And yeah, otherwise, I mean, I've not been out on this bike, I don't think, since February, and it's now fast approaching the end of April, which is strange really. I still expected to be using the bike for, well, quite a lot actually up until this point, but the weather's been fairly favourable to the point where I've actually managed to do a couple of TT races, just the Club 10s. They're up on the channel, or will be anytime soon. And yeah, otherwise it's mostly been sort of outdoors 4 to 5 times a week, and then yeah, one outdoor ride at the weekend. It's just typical really that this kind of happens, but I will stop at some point. There's a couple of things actually to talk around on this bike, despite kind of not riding it for yeah, a little while. So I may have already said already, but I think the wind noise might have scuppered things a little bit. Basically just an impromptu hour. It was either this or the turbo, and I've done enough of that lately. So this could be interesting one-handed. So, time to test the bell out on the 1050. Thank you. Success. So far since I've had this 1050, I think I've used it twice, 3 times, and yeah, I've just used the bell as a bit of a laugh really, more than anything else. It's not really something that you need to use on the road. But part of my reason for buying it, I definitely said this in one of the road ride videos, but part of my reason for buying it was my 1030 was getting really laggy, especially in cold weather. And I realised it was coming up for 10 years old. So I thought, well, with some of the challenges that I've had, not challenges, that's the wrong thing to say, but just difficulties where you're riding along trails like this, or even on Monsal or wherever. And yeah, if the wind's not in the right direction, people don't hear you. Especially since I've serviced the free hub on this, which is another story. But yeah, people just don't hear you. So I actually tried a bell when I was buying a couple of things from somewhere else. Just picked up a bell for kind of £1 or something, but it wasn't really suited for drop handlebars. So actually now would be a good time to talk about the maintenance that I've had to do on this bike. Well, it would have been a good place to stop and talk about the maintenance, but literally as I got through there, guy turns up, rolls a spitty little fag up and starts smoking away. Did he not know he was on set? Anyway, considering I don't want to lose time, I'll just talk through this. It's not like I can really show a great deal of stuff anyway. So yeah, general maintenance on the bike so far has actually been pretty good. Nothing out of the ordinary really. Stuff that I wouldn't count as maintenance. It's just sort of, you know, general servicing, shall we say. So kept on top of the bike, kept it mostly clean. There was one occasion where I kind of got back and I think I was short on time. So it was a few days then before I kind of cleaned it, re-lubed the chain, all that good stuff. The only thing that I've had to do, I mean, everything still feels pretty good. So like headset bearings and stuff, at some point, maybe a month or so down the line, when I get time, probably when I'm on holiday from work, I'll take the forks out, have a proper look over the bearings, but at the minute they actually feel okay. The one problem that I did have was the rear wheel. If I'd have known this was so easy, I probably would have set a camera up and then you could have watched me faff around basically to try and strip the thing down. Not as easy as a DT Swiss, which is most of the hubs that I have, and that's deliberate because of how easy they are to strip down and maintain. But I'm right along the river, so there's loads of little groups of flies. But yeah, it was fairly easy to strip down, and because I wasn't sure, so it's the Bontrager stock wheels, whatever they are, I can't actually remember, but there is a very handy idiot's guide on YouTube that helped me basically work out what tools I needed in order to strip it down, and also in what order. Now the problem I had was that it started to feel like in certain gears the free hub wasn't engaging and disengaging quite how it should, and it had actually got quite noisy. So I decided to strip it down. I've had some experience of sort of light servicing and maintenance, so I decided to strip it down, and basically it was dry, so you could see there was like a little bit of residue from the stock grease, but nowhere near enough, and definitely not enough for the conditions that this bike has spent most of its life in. Okay, this could be fun because bumpy and windy. I'm absolutely covered in flies. This happened yesterday as well, albeit I was just in a back garden. So what was I saying? Yeah, so I think most people will probably know, first couple of months this bike pretty much was used in dry, pretty dusty conditions, because it was the sort of end of July, August, very early September period. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly what I did now, but I did maybe a couple of 40s, a 50, definitely a couple of 60 plus rides, and it was all very much like this sort of dusty champagne gravel, as we'll call it. And then for the couple of months after that, pretty much wet, muddy. But I've heard about this before with stock wheels and hubs, and obviously they're pretty cheaply made. They're trying to keep the cost down and really just bang them out as quick as they can. So with that in mind, I'd probably encourage you to have a feel of it. But in any case, I find it hard to believe that I was just unlucky, and I have had this myself with stock wheels in the past too. So, you know, if you really take your time for an hour's worth of maintenance, I think it will be a good idea, because obviously the last thing you want to do is be wearing parts out. So at the same time, after I'd done the free hub, and this was much easier, took the end caps off the front wheel, had a bit of a feel around with the bearings. They were absolutely fine. I mean, they're just normal bearings. There's nothing really special going on in there, you know, compared to a free hub, for example. I have to say, I feel like I've got a lot better at doing this, riding and talking, albeit every time I do, my heart rate shoots up, my speed drops, and the cadence comes down more like to when I was a child. But hey, that was the point of today, really. Get some fresh air. And yeah, just continue the relaxation. So I guess, I mean, there's quite a few subscribers on the channel, and actually my subscribers went up ever since I had this bike. I have noticed a few people have dropped off, probably because, well, I got back to the whole TT thing, and let's face it, for a lot of people that's very, very boring. Most of the reason that I actually upload those rides, to be honest, is because it's easier than having to have your own hard drive in order to be able to keep everything, and then be able to, well, yeah, kind of watch it back as to what you did well or didn't. So otherwise, we'll just talk a little bit around this. So obviously I've got the Bontrager blender mount, no surprise, 1050, needed the longer one. But fortunately, AliExpress came to the rescue with that one. Not really much to say about the 1050 generally. The one thing I have done with this time around, get my words out, is actually set up different activity profiles. So this is the one that I'm using for gravel, simply because it will be slower paced, and yeah, I just need less stuff on screen really. And that's one thing that I really do like, is those, rather than just a whole series of beeps and then you're having to look as to what it actually is, having the speaker on this is very good. So apart from that bit of maintenance on the free hub, it's been a decent bike. I mean, I've had this now for, what, 10 months, give or take. Probably been using it for about 9. So obviously I did have to wait on a few bits, and also a bike fit. There's one thing that I've always found as basically a massive pain in the ass in the past, is I could never get the position quite right. Whereas of course on decent road bikes, what's the first thing I do? Is go and get a bike fit. So I was keen not to make the same mistake. Jesus, what dog's been carrying that? Right, it's going going to get bumpy as hell along here, so we'll pick up again in a minute. So I had to stop here. For anybody who's seen Clarkson's farm, fucking sheep. There's a load of lambs that have somehow found a way through this hedge, and they're in a field that they shouldn't be. Right, I'm going to wrap today's video up here. This has the potential at what have I recorded, sort of 20 minutes of ride and chat to basically turn into the ramblings of a madman. But it's been ages since I've been out on this bike, so I figured I would take the wanker selfie stick and a proper mic, sort of, and yeah, just record something. It will give me some video to edit, and yeah, if it turns out to be a load of nonsense, then hey, at least it'll be consistent like the rest of the content that I upload. One thing is though, it's definitely made me realise that at some point in the not too distant future, I need to head back up to Derbyshire and kind of get out for a full day on this bike. This last hour or so has been quite a lot of fun, just backing off the gas a bit, or actually quite a lot, because I've never freewheeled quite so much in my life. Hey, who knows, maybe I'll take up triathlon. That's what they do, isn't it? They freewheel a lot. So yeah, it's definitely made me realise, get some good timing on this bike, I think, at some point. Keep getting distracted by these sheep, and now it's started to spit as well. Thank God for the trusty old gabber. Right, anyways, yes, so need to get a good ride in on this bike, do a proper video. It's not too messy at the minute, but definitely get it cleaned up and do a kind of year living with, because these bikes are still really popular, and I think I'm correct in saying that certainly in the UK at least, gravel bikes are still seem to be the thing that are selling. Certainly a lot more than what time trial bikes ever will, and definitely premium road bikes at the moment. So yeah, that's another thing there with the 1050. So yeah, hopefully this turns out to be some type of meaningful content, even if it's just to talk around that sort of niggle that I had with the free hub a month or so ago. But yeah, I've enjoyed this ride, so I'm definitely going to put some more content together around the Checkpoint, because I mean, for what, 6 months, that was pretty much what it all was, and life went a little bit crazy. So I need to get back to that, especially now as hopefully we've got more bank holidays coming up and the weather picks up and all that good stuff. So any comments, questions, drop them in the section below. Big thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe if you would like to see more, and thank you very much for watching.